Hello and welcome to Skeindeer Knits. My name is Ellie and I am a Norwegian living and knitting in London, and you can find me on Instagram as Skeindeer and on Skeindeer Knits as a designer on Ravelry. And my Ravelry group name is Skeindeer Knits, which is the best place to take part in knit-alongs and giveaways, etc. And yeah, you can tell I'm a bit out of practice with this introductory ramble. Hello, if you're a new viewer, I sit here and talk about knitting irregularly for about an hour per video, and that's kind of what the plan is today. I probably won't last an hour because I will have to confess to those of you who are returning, it's actually not that much content today. I'm gonna start a little bit with a personal before we get into the knitting. I am kind of preparing for the big day, the big Viva, the big PhD Viva, where the work I've been doing for the past 7 years, I think, it's gonna come down one way or the other. So yeah, that's that really. I don't really know what happened to March, the month of March. I just wrote my show notes, and honestly it's not a whole lot to put in this video, but I found a snippet of time that I have available to make a bit of a recording, so I thought I would do that today for your viewing pleasure. So I'm just gonna get started with some admin and then we can talk about some knitting. I am running one knit along the Skeindeer Knits Garment Cal of 2021. The only thing you need to do to take part in that knit along is to knit any of my garment patterns, a ever expanding range of patterns, and that has to be started and finished in the year of 2021. And you can enter with as many finished garments as you want, really. So there's that. I actually have just released another garment pattern, so I thought I'd talk a bit about that because that is certainly a finished object. It's hanging right here. Here she is, the Trolltin cardigan. Should probably address the elephant in the room, which is the room. Didn't do that, did I? This is my bedroom. I've just started to record in my living room because I have one now. The flat share went from 3 people to 2, so there was a bit of options there. But today I thought, hey, let's go to the old setting. There's nothing wrong with that. So we're just here today. The room still exists. I still spend a lot of time in here. Anyway, the pattern that I decided to name Trolltin because I held Helix Tinde double, and that made a nice chunky weight yarn. Now Helix happened to have a chunky weight yarn in regular sheep wool, and it's called Troll, so Trolltin, which is the name of one of the biggest mountaintops I think in Norway, or a mountaintop anyway. We got a lot of them, I can't keep track. It's also the name of a song I really like, so it just made sense. Trolltin. So you gotta think of trolls like a kind of folklore kind of troll, not a internet troll. That's different. People keep changing Norwegian folklore to mean other things. I'm just like sitting here like, no, trolls. Trolls, like in the forest. Mountains. Nature. Viking folklore. I mean, no. Okay. So Trolltin can actually be made 2 different ways. With puff shoulders, the way I have it, which is, you can see there's like a gather up here at the shoulders, or with regular shoulders, which is just kind of smooth, not normal. Which 2 of my test knitters did, so you can check that out. Different ways of doing it. I put in puff shoulders because that's kind of my thing, but I know that's not everyone's thing, so I always try to do both, and that's basically it. I really wanted to scale back with this cardigan. I know I like to do a lot, but I have come up with a little bit of both this particular method of making a garment. Now you guys know me, I do like to get inspired by both sort of mid-century knits and historical knits, and I sometimes knit them and I think, well, why are they making it so complicated when it can be made easier? You can have more assembly as you knit it rather than do it later. Little bit more instant gratification for those who are into that sort of thing. And well, that's kind of what I've been aiming to do with this particular construction method. It's the same one I use for Orchestra and for the Librarian, 2 patterns that I know people really like, so thank you for that. Thank you for that. I can't talk. This is a side effect of the whole lockdown situation. I try to do words and what comes out is a little bit interesting. It's just me. Yeah, so the method I come up with / discovered, it's not just me, is, well, doing the body in the round, doing each sleeve in the round, joining them together. You've done this before. And decreasing kind of like a raglan, but the pattern tells you to decrease a little bit more on the body side to begin with and on the sleeve side throughout. And that's how you get this particular shape. Very flattering, and I find it is really good to be fair across sizes so that you get the same fit even if you're in the middle of the size distribution, at the smaller end of the size distribution, or the larger end of the size distribution. Say distribution 3 times fast in a row. Fast in a row. I can't say anything fast in a row. Who am I trying to impress? So I really like that I have found a way to make this in a way that feels just as intuitive and quick and instant gratification and self-assembling as a raglan that is more fair across sizes, and I think a little bit more friendly to modifications if you have a different shoulder width to bust than the kind of sizing standards suggest. So I thought I'd just quickly throw that out there while I'm into this already. You will find that there are 4 types of rows in this pattern. There is no decreases, there is decreasing for the sleeves, decreasing for the body, decreasing for both sleeves and body. So if you have more narrow shoulders, you simply want to decrease more on the body side, so you can just substitute the rows there. If you have broader shoulders, then you're going to want to decrease less for the body side, and so again you can substitute rows in the pattern accordingly. Should be pretty intuitive. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to keep very simple with this pattern is that it's just plain stockinette, because I know there's still a bunch of you out there who haven't been steeking. I've been doing this whole podcast designing shenanigan thing, anything under Skeindeer knits, since 2016. Is that like 5 years? And in the 5 years, almost 5 years I've been doing this, I still see some of you coming to me with, I haven't steeked yet, I can't, I'm afraid, I'm just worried. And I'm here to tell you, in the 5 years I've been doing this, people come up to me and telling me this, they eventually try it and they never look back. You know, more often than not, I hear people just say, oh my god, I did it, this was amazing, this won't be the last time. That's what I hear time and time again. So I wanted to put this in a simple stockinette pattern, and chunky. Why stockinette? Why chunky? Can't you just knit stockinette flat? Isn't steeking for color work? Well, it's also a good way to avoid purling if you're like me, but also it is easier to sort of do the crochet method into steek, or any method into steeking, when you're only dealing with 1 strand at a time for the steek. That would have been here, but it isn't anymore. Obviously I have been proper and tacked it down even for a change. Look at me and my finishing techniques. Don't get used to it. Yeah, it is easier if you're just working with 1 strand. Well, this is double stranded. You get what I mean. And chunky weight helps with that as well. It's easier to see. So I thought, hey, entry level steek pattern, anyone? If you want to modify this to be worked flat, I'm sure that's pretty easy too. I like to keep my patterns a little bit open, even though I do explain an awful lot in the pattern. I did have to add a little something to kind of distinguish my pattern from any other stockinette cardigan out there. So I added a bit of a twist stitch column here. So yeah, this is not lace, it is not cable, it is just a simple twist stitch pattern. That means it's based on the Knit 2 Together and the SSK stitch, which you're probably familiar with. So there's no much finagling with stitches and cable needles and anything like that. I'm kind of obsessed, in case you haven't noticed. So there. I think I said everything I need to say. Haven't talked so much about the yarn and how much I am wearing this thing. You know what I'm gonna say. I live in this cardigan. This is not my official address. This is a cardigan. I love it. It is very warm. I am a bit of a... My thermostat isn't all there. When I am out walking, I heat up and I need to, you know, layer off, which the cardigan is very good for. And then I come home and I sit still for about half an hour and I am shivering. And it's very good to then be able to put this back on and feel warm. And here's another thing. I use this as a jacket outside. London can get quite windy. And it's windproof, kind of, mostly. like cold wind, and I am not bothered when I wear this. I have never had that happen with wool before. Usually wool is good right until the wind comes and then it stops being so effective. Yet for some reason this pelt wool by Helix, this is Tinder. I bought it a bit half and half at Knit with Attitude and Isolde, both of which in the UK. They ship internationally. I'm not sponsored, just a fan. And yeah, so there. I think I ran out of things to say. I just kind of wanted to present to you this a much more simplified satin sleeve construction method in a much more simplified and quicker knit cardigan. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I have. It is out there. I'm also going to put a code here if you want to buy the pattern now. Obviously people who buy my pattern while they are brand new are incredibly supportive in getting my pattern out there to, you know, have other people see it. So that's really helpful. Thank you. Now I will confess I do not have a finished object to share with you today, but I have worked on an old whip. Yes, I have these impulses to finish old projects. They don't last long enough for me to actually finish them, but they do come, and they come in handy because I made a lot of progress on Aldous. I think it's called Aldous by Isabel Kramer. I was really intrigued by this particular sweater pattern because it is top down, contiguous, but she's sort of changed the shaping in a way that I guess is kind of more trademark to her patterns. And yeah, I really wanted to cast it on, and I found I had the perfect yarn for it in stash. It's this yarn from a rustic yarn club while the Homespun House was based in Germany and can source German yarn, and this was like a one-off thing that I was subscribed to in 2017, like early. And I managed to get my mitts on 3 skeins. I only got 1 from the club, but I got my mitts on 2 other skeins from club members who were happy to sell theirs because I was obsessed with this color. I mean, you can't really blame me. And that should have been enough meters for this pattern, but for some reason it wasn't. I don't know why. I feel like the pattern must be right in the amount of meters used, so I'm gonna guess that maybe this yarn simply had less meters than stated on the label. I know this is a small farm kind of yarn, so maybe it was just difficult to estimate. I don't really know. Could be the pattern too. I also did modify the sleeves to be a little bit roomier, but that does not really account for the fact that the body is this long from the underarm, right? And the amount of yarn I have left is this. That's not even enough for the rib, so something's off. I don't know what, and of course this yarn is going to be a pain to get hold of. Except one saint of a person had listed this very yarn from that club in their will, sell or trade in their stash. And it arrived a couple of days ago. Thank you. And thank you. I don't know what to say, but this has saved my jumper. And as I'm just, I know it's just a jumper. It's just a jumper. But I couldn't frog it and do something else this far, and I pushed through, and you know, I should be rewarded for picking up a whip. You know, I have over 50 whips. I don't deserve this. Anyway. I hope you're not a new viewer and take me very seriously, because that's a mistake. Here is the sweater. It needs a block, obviously. It's been curled up. You can see this is the bit that was curled up. It's from here to right about here. There's like a very clear line of what had been like bunched together in the project bag. And the rest is looking quite smooth because that's all I've been doing since. It's got sleeves. It's got finished sleeves. Look at that. Yeah. The sleeves, I got Latvian braids on them, which I thought was a really neat finish. I don't know if you can see that. I made the mistake of putting on auto light adjustment on my camera today, so oh dear. You can see how alive this color is as well, the way it's been dyed on this sheep wool. I'm just saying, if you don't sniff your wool, do you even like yarn, you know? This sweater is kind of sort of made inside out, so that you obviously can knit more than you purl. So it looks just as good, if not better, on the inside with the reverse stockinette side out, because then you get this knit column coming down here at the back, and you also get them on each side of the sleeve. Like, yeah, you get the idea, you get the idea. So that's gonna be really cool. It can be worn both ways. Obviously the Latvian braids are facing this side, so if I turn that inside out, you simply just get knit stitches. Well, that's exciting. So yeah, just crank through this. I don't know what came over me. I guess I've been working a lot on designs lately, you know, one of which has just come out, and you do keep seeing them when they do come out, and I'm hoping to prepare for the summer and for the autumn, and I'm just like buzzing a little bit. What else is new? So I needed a break from that, and this one just sort of, it just came to me. And now I can finish it, because now I finally have the very last skein, and that's basically what's going on here. And it's fine that I'm joining in another skein, because honestly, right now this thing weighs less than 300 grams. When I've knitted up the scraps, it will be exactly 300. It's not bad for a jumper to just go up to 400. I still am not going to find that particularly heavy. So that's my whip. Aldous by Isabel Kramer, which is my first Isabel Kramer knit, actually. I think so. She's probably the most popular designer on the Ravelry design rank right now, and yeah, it's about time that I try. So I'm doing that. Now, we only have stash acquisitions left. I did say this was going to be a short one, and yeah, I have been doing a little bit of shopping. I do think there's still yarn coming my way, and I can't even remember what it is, but I splurged a bit the other day, guys. I was on a Zoom call with some knitting friends, as we're, you know, and one of them was knitting on some yarn that she bought when we were together in Edinburgh for the yarn festival. Anyone remember that? And she just finished the sweater, and it looked so good, and she was waxing poetic about the yarn, and I'm like, what is this yarn that is so soft and woolly and lovely and has that amazing shade of green? And she said, well, it's the Border Mill. I'm gonna look at the labels to see what it is. It's North Coast Tweed, and will you just check out this green? It's the same as my plant, almost, kind of. I'm keeping plants now, guys, wish me luck. So here we are, hopefully we have some focus. Kind of hard to tell, really. I got 5. I'm like, this is sweater yarn. Like, this is sweater yarn. So I don't know how much yarn I'm gonna need. Usually for me, like 500 grams is more than a safe bet, and this is kind of, according to the meters of the yarn, 190 per 100 grams. It should be a heavy worsted. However, this is looking like sport weight. So I'm kind of a little bit concerned if I have enough, but I also know I don't want a sweater that's heavier than this right now. It's not like it's that bad, but I think 500 grams is my limit. Just, you know, I don't know why I'm doing this. It stopped me. And yeah, I don't know exactly what to do yet. I feel a design has to be coming from this. I mean, I kind of only design nowadays, which I know I'm gonna get to a kind of saturation point for that. I need to knit other people's stuff too, because it's a hobby, and I'm also trying to convince myself to work with sample knitters. I knit so far pretty much every sample that I have right now, so that means the pictured things in my pattern photos. I think the only one I haven't knitted is Losna. I think one of my shawl samples. That's all I can think, and some of them are missed remittance because there are my knitters photos. But yeah, generally I knit everything because I can't let go of control, which is interesting. But I have a upcoming cardigan sweater pattern, so I made 2 versions, both as a cardigan and as a sweater, each to their own, and I realized I don't have it in me to knit both. So I got one of my regular testers, asked her if she wanted to make the sweater, and she did, and it just arrived with me, and I'm looking at it right now, and guys, this is good. This is the instant gratification of just getting a finished knitted item of your designs in the mail. Well, it's done. I can get used to that. That, ooh, so much stress off my shoulders right there. I need to do that more. All the other designers do that. I don't know if you know this. I think a lot of people get the impression that designers need everything themselves, when the truth is a lot of designers don't need anything themselves, or just a minority of their things themselves, because otherwise the workload becomes bananas. But I still just, I'm clinging to the needles, and I need to kind of, you know, we talked about this before. Having said all of that, I'm probably still going to want to knit this sample, whatever this is going to be. I'm thinking like broken rib. That's all I got. That's not a lot to work with. But it is a worsted weight yarn. It is looking, I mean, I'm going to show you. It is looking as fine as sport weight, honestly. Maybe like DK, but it looks so much finer than it is. Which is weird because it's woolen spun and it's like, well, we'll see what happens. But I do love this yarn, and I want to just like gush a bit over the border mill for a bit here, because I placed this order at around about like 9:30 AM in the morning, and it arrived about 11 in the morning the next day, which is wild. So yeah, that was a 26-hour wait. So I can recommend that to anyone based in London if you want to get some border mill yarn. It's lovely. I was quite flabbergasted when it arrived in the mail so soon after ordering. I was like, I don't know what this is yet. I also had some other yarn in the mail today. This is a bit of a kind of spoiled rotten moment. I have some, guys, I'm being fancy today. I have some Lovey and Aimée yarn. I know exactly what I am going to make with this. I will definitely let you know. But right now, I just want you to enjoy the colors. So this is undyed and this is dyed, and I'm just the pop. It is popping. So this is, I'm gonna have a bit of a read about this. Helix, which has 650 meters per 100 grams. This is gonna go a long way. This is all French, but this is I can read this. 75% Falkland Merino and 25% Gotland wool. So both very woolly and very soft. I don't know where this is spun, but I'm getting a very strong Laxton's Mill vibe from this, and you guys know how I feel about Laxton's yarn, so yeah. Hand-dyed yarn from Paris, which I hope to go to once this friggin' lockdown is over and we can move about a bit more. Obviously, my first priority is seeing my adorable little nephew, who is now over 5 months, just a meter shorter than me, and is like now responding to things and being all giggly, and just I'm not a big baby person, but I like this baby. I really like this baby, and we're very good Snapchat buddies right now, me and my baby nephew. I just really want to see him. Anyway, let's have a little bit of a close-up on this yarn. Check this out. Oh yeah, matching my lipstick. So that's entering the stash right now, if not right on the needles, because I am feeling this yarn. I am feeling it. So yeah, we're definitely looking at colour work, I can tell you that much. So now that we're at the end of this very short and sweet little episode, I just thought I would catch you up on things. I mean, I have kind of caught you up on things throughout this episode, telling you about, you know, how I just still can't see my little baby nephew, but we're hoping that, you know, this year the flat is nice. It's just very chill, although I did have a dream last night that I left the flat for a big house in the centre of London that looked like the house of the Addams family, but then I regretted it because it was just kind of big and impersonal. Dreams, they're funny. Anyway, otherwise I have had a bit of a drought from, you know, this website, and kind of also Instagram, and kind of also everything. But I am still online. I do post a little bit every day, but it's, I talked about this a lot lately, haven't I, about the algorithms and everything that seems to be acting against creators. And I know I'm not the only one. There are people way more affected by all this stuff than me, but it's kind of taking things a little bit out of you when you know, most of the people on Instagram don't see where you post, and YouTube videos kind of get sent to people in a very strange way lately. So I've had this weird thing where like people are struggling to find my recent videos, but what's ending up in their algorithm is one of my very earliest videos, which is really bad. People, and I actually get really nice comments on the video, people saying like, oh my god, I learned so much from this video, thank you so much. And I'm like, I don't really remember what I said in an hour-long video from a couple of years ago, but the one I did rewatch is not really accurate. I just know more stuff now, and there's a lot of things I don't agree with myself from back then anymore, and it's just kind of awkward. But YouTube keeps pushing these old videos. I guess I was using better hashtags back then or something like that. I don't know. And I think another thing, like, this is for people who like to have a little bit of insight of what it's like to be on YouTube, for what it's worth. You know, if you have, you know, an amazing bunch of followers, then when you put up a video, you get all the notifications, you get the comments, they are your notification squad. And of course, if you don't upload anything, you don't get anything, and that makes total sense. However, the people you do hear from when you have a break is only the people who are just discovering your content. And they're not all very nice. And so if you're taking a break, there's nothing on YouTube to motivate you to come back, because all you're getting is comments from people who are having temperament issues, maybe just need to go outside a bit. I don't know. So that's kind of, I just kind of had to kick myself up the bum a little bit and just kind of put on the camera right in this mess and just start blabbering. And I think another thing that happens, I'm just musing out loud to you guys now, this is all improv, you're very welcome. If you have a lot of longer and longer breaks between videos, which I have had because PhD, lockdown, what else is new? My personal growth starts to outrun what people have time to catch up with in video to video, and I find myself kind of trying to pigeonhole myself back into a place that I was maybe a couple of years ago that I'm kind of not anymore, but the videos haven't like caught up. So if this seems like a really weird video, I'm letting you catch up basically. And I think I just need to allow myself to let the videos present where I'm at now, where I am just kind of less into trying to make myself presentable and palatable for the tubes, because otherwise people are going to be mean. But what ends up happening if you do that is like you only end up attracting people who are only nice to you as long as you behave properly, and I don't behave properly, so that's the tea. So that's all that's happening here. I am, as ever, hoping to be able to make more of these videos and other videos, and hopefully that's going to be after I have defended my PhD thesis. It's coming up. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's just gonna happen, and it will be what it will be, and I can only do my very best, and I'm probably not gonna fail, so I guess there's nothing to really be dreading about it. It's just, I haven't mentioned what I'm wearing, have I? Okay, so as a treat for those of you who watched till the end, I'm wearing the Ducote pullover by Kate Davies, which I made in Just Wool recycled yarn, which is a DK recycled wool sold at Hobium yarn shop in Turkey. And I just love this jumper so much. It is the most wearable jumper I have in my wardrobe. Very simple raglan, kind of just loose fit, deep yoke, kind of just big and roomy, and the yarn is so soft because it is recycled. It feels like something that's just been worn and worn and worn and ripped out and made into yarn again, and just, you know, it's got that feel. It's a bit heavy to knit with, but once you've done it, it's just no regrets. I do have one sweater quantity left of this yarn in a red color, and honestly I think once I knit that up I'm gonna order more, because this is just so stinking wearable. and the idea of using recycled wool to make more yarn makes me very happy. So all in all, it's a win-win. And with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Do be sure to drop a comment below if you have anything you want to say, and leave a like and subscribe. And also sign up to my newsletter. I have a newsletter. The newsletter is a really good way to keep up with things, especially when algorithms are just hurting my feels. So do be sure to do all those things if you want to, of course. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.